Good evening, y'all. Welcome to the Royals Rundown podcast presented by Royals Review. I am Jake Milham. I am dead on my feet. This is a terrible week for baseball, but Jeremy, you are ever the optimist. You have some sort of hope, right? It was all a dream, right?
I mean, the magic number is 19. That's a tiny magic number.
Jeremy, that doesn't answer my question.
It's so small. And it's funny because I've been beating this drum for how long now, and both Craig Brown and David Lesky in their newsletters today were like, listen, everybody, like, they're going to the playoffs. They don't have a choice. Austin refuses to try and catch up to them.
That is exactly the case. As we sit here today, Wednesday evening, I was telling Jeremy before we got the podcast started, if you take one thing away from this podcast episode, just know this. The vibes are in the gutter.
Oh my gosh.
They are so awful, but the postseason is still very much, I wouldn't say a certainty, but how do their chances keep getting better and they lose?
I'm going to go like re-dye my hair red or something. I don't know, man. This blue hair dye ain't doing it.
I am going to pull up their stats since you dyed your hair blue, Jeremy.
No, don't do it. I don't want. I can't bear with that. It was another thing that we did not talk about before the podcast. That was an idea I had, was like just having a random conversation about, are baseball fans the most superstitious? All sports fans and all athletes are superstitious to some degree. Yeah. But my Twitter is constantly flooded with, oh, sorry, I turned on the game. I'm sorry, I had to go. Went to the game. Oh, I didn't go to the game. It was at one point, one of the people I follow, Mighty Minx, was like, they win all the games where I sell my tickets to somebody else or give my tickets to somebody else. And we were like, okay, well, you're not allowed to, you have to give all your tickets away now.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, superstitions are wild. I don't think that any of us truly believe we have this impact, but we so desperately want to have an impact.
Yep.
Crazy.
Exactly. You know, it's baseball players believe in superstitions, so baseball fans are going to believe in their own superstitions in the ways that they can impact the game. But
Patrick Mahomes wears the same. What does he wear? The same something every game day.
Truthfully, I forget what it is.
Was it an undershirt or something? Deal. Maybe.
I cannot.
He should do that for the Royals too.
He just needs to go to a Royals game. All right, maybe that's what they need. Maybe they need because everyone wants to grow up and be Patrick Mahomes. Maybe that's what Salvador Perez is going to say. He's going to look up in the stands and see Patrick Mahomes. He's going to say, my childhood hero, Patrick Mahomes.
I do want to throw out there that starting pitching's been pretty good.
It has.
I mean, it hasn't been amazing, but it's been pretty good. Cole Reagan's line, was it Saturday? Friday, Saturday? I don't remember. It looks awful, but he was so good for the first 5 innings. And then he just hit an absolute wall. And of course, the offense did nothing. The offense had scored 2 runs a game for 4 games in a row before they scored 1 run last night. People are asking about the base running. They're asking about the bullpen. They're asking about the starters. And it's like, well, if they don't score runs, it doesn't matter what anyone else does. And you can't steal first. They had the day someone asked me about the base running in the rumblings was the day after the Royals had 2 hits. 2 runs on 2 hits. What's wrong with the base running? Well, they're not on base.
Yes. You are not on base a whole lot, which, listen, Tommy Pham got his,
made me so mad.
So I am curious about that, because I know I'm not a professional baseball player or anything like that, but that bat or that ball off Salvi's bat, that looked like a perfect gapper. That looked like
it doesn't matter. He's at third. He's going to score easy if it drops.
That's fair, but you want to give Bobby Wood Jr. more of a running start? Like, I don't know.
You don't need to. Bobby Wood Jr. can come in right behind you. If it's so easy for Tommy Pham to come home, Bobby Wood Jr. could just be right behind him the whole way, and that's fine.
That's fair. Well, Jeremy, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves right now for our listeners. It is, like I said, we're recording this on Wednesday evening. The Royals are in their it's bad right now. 7 consecutive losses, their longest streak of the year, the longest since middle of 2023, where they lost like 10 straight. So that's not great company to be.
I think this is the first time we've had a reason to compare them to the 2023 team in a non-favorable way.
Yeah,
all year.
Listen, like we can look back at they're 75 and 65 right now, right? It's still a 31 win improvement over where they were at this point last year. We can compare them all that.
And that's if they don't win another game for the rest of the year.
Exactly. They were 44 and 96 after game 140 last year. Now Now they're 75 and 65.
Yeah. I was like, wait, 30, that's too many.
Yeah,
I'm missing something here.
Still, if the season ended today, they would be much, much better than they were last year.
Yes.
But that's not what Royals fans right now want. We had images of playoff baseball dancing in our heads. We were starting to buy the ticket plan so that we could secure some first dibs at the home playoff series, stuff like that. Now the bats aren't cold. The bats are dead right now.
Where's Jobu? We got to get him some whiskey and some cigars or something.
Exactly.
Though in the end, wait a second. In the end, didn't he was like, you Jobu, and went out and hit the curveball? Yes. Isn't that how that happened?
Yes, because Jobu didn't help him hit the curveball, but he was hitting everything else for nukes. Let's just start there, okay? Baby steps here, Jeremy. I just want a hit.
It's funny. I was thinking about, like, if the Royals had the Red Sox record right now, they would be 4.5 games out of a playoff spot. Not in good shape for the rest of the year.
No.
I think Royals fans would be more positive.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't be afraid that the Royals are about to lose a playoff spot. They'd be like, man, they're just so much better than last year. It sucks that they're not going to go to the playoffs, but they're so much better than last year. And people have gotten their eyes set so hard on they're going to the playoffs, which they probably still are.
Don't forget about that.
That to watch them flounder around like this is, I'm frustrated too. I have continued my process of turning off the game as soon as they get down by a certain number of runs. And he still was super upset and frustrated last night. We're not having fun.
No.
But also, the wins all count the same. The losses all count the same. If we had spread out these 7 losses throughout the rest of the season and won some of these games instead, it'd be the same result.
It would.
But we'd all feel better. So, like, the Guardians, for those of you who are like, the Royals can't do anything. Well, are the Guardians good? They had a 7-game losing streak less than a month ago. The Yankees have had losing streaks. They look pretty good, right? I mean, everybody has gone through these losing streaks. It's not just the Royals.
It's just the timing is absolutely
for sure
terrible. Absolutely terrible.
All right, one more comparison I do want to make before I'll maybe let you say something.
You're fine.
Other than just agreeing with me. 15, September.
What happened?
The Royals were bad in September of 2015, at least at the start. Everyone was freaking out then too. Oh, they're going to back into the playoffs. Oh, they're going to lose the division lead. What's going to happen?
And look how
what happened. Do you remember what happened to the 2015 Royals, Jacob?
I do. Very vividly remember.
And I'm not saying that the 2024 Royals are going to win the World Series. That is that's a long, long way to go. But
yes,
man, like, we could all stand to, like, it's frustrating, and it's fine, I think, to be frustrated, and it's fine to be upset, and it's fine to wonder what is going on with this team.
Yeah.
But the panic and sometimes the, like, anger towards other fans is a lot. So
it is.
I don't want to tell anyone how to fan, but you can still be nicer to people too. And I could probably also be nicer to people than I have been at times, because I've also been frustrated and lashing out. Maybe, let's all remember to collectively take a deep breath,
yeah,
and continue on.
And I feel like I did that last night. So I think it was last episode, we were talking about what do you do when the Royals are losing? Like you went and watched a movie. During this stretch, I haven't consciously been doing it, but I will go find myself later on in games. I'll go find myself start doing the dishes and wait for Vern's post game show to come on the radio. Last night, with everything that happened, I did that a little early, and I listened to the seventh. I just turned the game off. I came over here and I specifically turned off my computer and muted Twitter for the rest of the night.
Yeah,
I was like, "Hey, there's nothing constructive to say right now, other than have negative reactions."
I spent less time on Twitter yesterday than I have been during games for the first time in a while. And the time I was on Twitter was much more negative, but that's my own personal experience with Twitter yesterday. But the general idea of not spending as much time on Twitter left me, I think, much happier. I think we're creating kind of a feedback loop with each other with all the complaining. So the Royals are losing tonight. I think I'm going to start doing this. Like, that's going to be the next thing I do, is instead of checking Twitter to see who else is angry, who else is wondering what's going on, I'll just be like, yeah, I don't need to feed into that anymore.
No. And it is, we all know that the Royals Review comment section, threads, stuff like that can get testy, toxic at times.
Fandom is a passionate thing for sure.
And however we show that is, we don't always agree. But I do want to say, no matter the game's outcome, if you're similarly mad, if you're happy, if you're jovial about a certain thing, talk about it in the Royals Review comment thread. All right, talk about it in the game thread. Talk about it in the game recap. Oh, this is what they should have done, or this is what they could have done. Things like that, because we all make jokes about the armchair managers or the armchair quarterbacks, as we're about to hear more and more. I still very much enjoy hearing, oh, well, they could have done this differently, as long as it's not just solely based on the results. You know what I mean? Because like putting in Lucas Urseg last night should not have been a controversial decision. He wasn't on the IL. It had been many days since we'd last seen him, but
almost a week.
What did you say?
Almost a week.
Yeah, damn
Thursday.
Damn near a week. But unfortunately, like he was a part of the problem last night. 5 runs on only 5 hits in 3 1/3 innings from the bullpen last night. Jeremy, I'm pivoting hard here.
Okay.
Because unfortunately, let me get this out. I'm pivoting hard here because right now the Royals are just playing bad baseball. This isn't a controversy. I don't think that this is a coaching thing right now. The Royals are just playing bad baseball right now. That's the truth of it. Hopefully they break out of it, because at the end of the day, they are the only ones who could break out of this slump. Okay, we could be mad, we could be happy, we could be rah-rah from social media all we want. It's not going to do shit unless they break out of it and start playing some ball again.
Yep.
Jeremy, a couple of not well known, some folks that have ties back to the Royals were in the baseball headlines last night. Whit Merrifield being one.
Yeah.
I thought this was interesting because you've spoken extensively about throwing at players and things like that. And Whit Merrifield was like, I'm sorry, there's no reason to be tossing at someone's head. And he is very lucky that he was not seriously injured. He is still hurt. We're probably not going to see him for a couple of days. but that it's not more serious, that he wasn't rushed to a hospital sort of serious. What did you think about that whole situation?
So I think one thing I want to clarify here is that pitcher did not intentionally throw at Merrifield. He just lost control of his pitch.
Right.
And I know where Whit Merrifield comes from, that is, guy doesn't know where he's throwing his pitch. People keep calling these guys who throw up 100 miles an hour. They don't know where they're throwing the pitch, and they're not worried about being thrown at because pitchers don't hit anymore. And I've already done the whole argument about like why throwing at people is bad. I mean, he basically makes my point, part of my point for me, in that like everyone's like, oh, they hit Whit Merrifield, hit their guy. Well, if it's not the pitcher, it doesn't matter, because the guy, like I said before, the guy's going to go to the pitcher and be like, well, you got to control your pitches. The pitcher's going to go, so you want me to throw him a meatball? Because what am I going to do here? This is what I have to work with. And then the guy's going to go, no, I just don't want to get hit. And we're back to square one. So it's interesting that Whit says he's on the competitive balance committee or whatever, the rules committee.
Yeah, the competition committee.
Competition committee there. That makes more sense. I was like, that can't be right, but that's what's stuck in my head. He wants to talk about like what they can do about this. And Matthew Lamar had a tweet that got me thinking, because my solution to this was, I'll admit, was not perfect. In retrospect, was lacking probably a fair bit. Of like, yeah, they should just like apologize when they unintentionally hit people like they do in Japan. And I still don't think that would be a bad thing to do. But also, Matthew Lamar makes the point that, these guys, this is a team thing, a franchise thing, where they say, well, the guy throws 100 miles an hour. Let's call him up. Let's see if he can get it out. And then he hits a guy, and it doesn't. So Matthew proposed that if a hitter is hit and injured and has to come out of the game, then the pitcher also has to come out of the game, which is a very interesting proposal to me.
It is.
I'm not opposed to that, but I think we could take it further, because again, I'm concerned about process, not results, right? Always process, not results. So if you hit a guy and he doesn't have to come out of the game, well, you still hit a guy. And pitchers hitting people is more dangerous than ever with as hard as they throw, all this stuff. So we really do want to discourage it. And I think that we could discourage it by, you hit two batters the same appearance, you're out, even if they both can stay in. Or maybe hit by pitch should be two bases instead of one. There's other things we could do, but I really think that the focus should not be on, well, did a guy have to come out of the game because you hit him? It should be on, you hit a guy and you should be able to control your pitches better than that. And if your relievers can't control their pitches better, then you shouldn't be calling them up. You should be encouraging. One of the things MLB is looking at trying to figure out is how to convince teams to not, or how to convince players to not go all 100% all the time to get these 100. Ben Joyce threw 105 mile an hour fastball the other night. To get these guys to not throw quite so hard and blow out their arms. Well, one way you could do that is by further encouraging control for velocity. You could even do something where like it's 3 balls as a walk instead of 4. Suddenly control becomes a much higher premium, and you want guys who can pitch instead of guys who can throw. Then you would get a reduction in velocity. I don't know. I'm saying do that right now, but these are definitely things I would be thinking about if I was MLB, if I was on the competitive committee.
Yeah,
the competition committee.
All good points, and that is something that Big MLB has talked about curbing, not just for professional baseball, but we've spoken about it on the podcast before. There are ripple effects for this velo chasing that's going on right now, and it's affecting the youngest portion of baseball right now. I mean, the kids' elbows aren't set up for trying to chase after 90 miles an hour, which is absurd to think about, but like that's the reality. That's what we're seeing. Something like this would be interesting, making it a little bit more of a heftier penalty, if you will. What do you think about for starters, though? Because I will say, 2 hit batters doesn't seem like a ton for starters. It doesn't, and it seems like more.
When was the last time? I don't think we see starters hit batters twice very often. I think it's probably happened a handful of times this year. I think, if I remember correctly, Seth Lugo and Brady Singer are leading the Royals in hit by pitches with 9. So just multiple hit by pitches isn't going to happen very often. But What it would do is once you hit that first guy, whether you're a starter or a reliever, you're much warier about coming in. It's the same thing about, warning the people the coaches get mad when you warn the benches, because now if I accidentally hit them, I'm automatically gone.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's very fair. So that is definitely sounds like a good article idea, Jeremy. I will I will say that. And then also we might be down, the Royals might be down, but you can't get much further down than the Chicago White Sox.
Oh my goodness. We can all look around and say, at least we aren't the White Sox.
Correct. Exactly. They just surpassed the franchise record for losses. They are going to surpass at least 110 losses on the year.
They've lost 109 with 20 games to go.
I know. And they're
going to break every loss record there is.
Yes.
They're going to break the total losses. They're going to break the winning percentage.
I'm about to look up because I don't know what the total loss record is.
I want to say it was the 60-something Mets. But according to what I was hearing, and I don't have the math on me to do this right off the top of my head, I understand correctly, the White Sox, if only the Red Sox had done this, the White Sox have gone 5-45 in their last 50 games. That is a 100 winning percentage, a third of a season.
Oof.
That doesn't seem possible.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. All right, I'm looking at this here. So they are not going to surpass the most losses in an MLB season set by the Cleveland Spiders back in 1899. However,
who cares about pre-1900s baseball?
I know, right? Some more recent ones, I think they will lose more games than the 2018 Baltimore Orioles, who went 47-115.
Oh, yeah.
The Detroit Tigers are an interesting one. Back in 2003, they went 43-119.
That's definitely in play.
It definitely is.
They would have to play 500 to not get there, and even then, I think it would be close.
And I think the benchmark for after 1900, after the turn of the century. The 1962 Mets. I do remember this. They went 40. It was somewhere in the 60s. Yeah, they went 40-120.
Yeah.
So I definitely
Chicago's gonna have to really try to not pass that. Again, they have 109 losses with 22 games left to go. And so if they play 500, they would have 120 losses. Do we think that the White Sox can play at 500 over the remainder of the season?
Hell no.
No.
You want to know why?
45 of their last 50, and they're going to win 11 of their next 22? I don't think so.
No. Well, they don't have these Royals on the schedule right now. They can't rely on those 3 wins against Kansas City right now.
They do have the Red Sox coming up after the Orioles.
They do. So, which, speaking of
team losing more than the Royals, it might be the Red Sox.
Very true. So I wanted to kicked off the podcast by saying the vibes are terrible, but the postseason picture is not.
The podcast is not either. The podcast is amazing.
The podcast is pretty good. I would say make sure you follow along with us on social media or subscribe or review or whatever it is on your respective platform. So we focused on the Royals and their slide back from being tied with the Cleveland Guardians. Was this point last week they were tied for that top spot and we were all excited. Yep. Now they're 5.5 games back. Okay, that's not getting fixed.
Can I let me phrase it this way, right? 5.5 games back of the Guardians. Do we feel like the Royals can make that up?
No,
probably
not really. Yeah.
The Red Sox are 4.5 back. They're gonna make that up.
I don't know.
Are they?
No, why not?
I don't know. I don't think so. It feels like a lot to make up in this short of a time.
Yes, it does. And not only that, but both the Royals and Boston have been so bad that now Detroit is in the playoff picture again. Yes, I'm going to say it.
You can say it. That doesn't make it true.
The Tigers are 4.5 games back too right now.
Yeah, but the Tiger, they're a paper tiger.
Oh, they're a paper tiger, huh?
They look scary, but they're not actually. So they will fall apart again.
So as of right now, 22 games left. The Royals are sliding. The Red Sox are sliding. Jeremy Greco, how worried are you about the Royals missing the playoffs?
Well, anything can happen.
Yes.
But by golly, it would be hard to miss the playoffs at this point. I've been doing the math, said Brown and Lesky did the math in their newsletters. Let's just do the math one more time. Okay. Royals have 22 games remaining.
Yep.
Let's say, and again, after the Yankees, all of those teams are extremely beatable.
Yes.
So they have 22 games remaining. Let's say they go 8 and 14.
Okay.
The Red Sox would have to go. Lost my mind. I can't do math anymore.
They would have to go like 13 and 11, right?
I think it's worse. 13 and 10.
13 and 10. I got caught up in that the other day. Like that.
Yeah, the Red Sox have 23 games left. The Royals have 22. So the Red Sox would have to go 13 and 10. Now 13 and 10 doesn't seem that hard, but it would be significantly better than the Red Sox have done since the All-Star break.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, sure, they could go 13 and 10, the Royals, but again, that's like I feel like the worst case scenario for the Royals would be to go 8 and 14 to finish out the year. That would be a 300 something winning percentage for the rest of the year. That seems excessively pessimistic. So let's say the Royals go 11 and 11 for the rest of the year. That seems reasonably pessimistic.
Yes.
Suddenly, the Red Sox have to go 15 and no wait. The Red Sox have to win 5 more, so they would have to go 16
and
6. Or 16 and 7. Yeah, there we go.
Wow.
So if the Royals just play 500, and that goes for the Tigers too, by the way, would have to play the same pace as the Red Sox since they're tied with the Red Sox. No, except that the Tigers don't have the tiebreaker with the Royals, so they have to win 1 more game.
Yep.
So that's where the math is right now, is that the Royals would have to play believably bad, and the Red Sox would have to play better than they have at any point since the All-Star break. Or the Tigers would have to kick it up to another gear above where they've been playing.
Which I don't think they could.
They don't have enough. This is their top gear. They don't have another gear in them. So, again, technically possible for the Royals to miss the playoffs, but it would take a collapse. It would take this collapse that we've seen over the last week lasting for the rest of the season, which is possible, but not probable.
Correct. I think that distinction needs to be made throughout the Royals fan base right now. Anything is possible, but folks are, I get it. People can say, damn the numbers. What am I feeling? What am I seeing? At the end of the day, you do have to give some credence to the numbers because the numbers drive the standings. You don't set the standings based off of your perception of a team. You set it based off of wins and losses. And right now, thanks to some of those wins and losses, thanks to certain calculations that I can't even wrap my head around, the Royals have a good chance of making the postseason.
And pretend for a moment. I know that I like to pretend a lot. Pretend for a moment that the Royals got swept by the Astros early in the year, and then pretend that they went 3-1 in Houston, last week.
Yeah.
We're feeling a lot better, right?
Right.
But the wins and losses count the same.
They do. Just food for the thought. We will say it again. This stretch has sucked.
Oh, yeah.
It really has. We'll weather the storm, push through, hope for better Royals baseball. If they haven't won by the time we do the next podcast, though, Jeremy, I don't know what we're talking about.
Jacob, I said before the season that all I really wanted from the Royals was to get me to Chiefs season. And Chiefs season, as you're listening to this, starts tonight or has already started.
That's fair. That's actually
they got
really
me.
good point.
They did what I asked.
Yep.
I don't think it's fair of me to say, well, now I'm mad that you might somehow accidentally miss the postseason. Like,
true.
I want to reiterate what I said earlier, that I think if the Royals and the Red Sox records were swapped, Royals fans would be ecstatic about how improved this team was right now, as opposed to being frustrated. We're getting greedy. We're all greedy. It's fine. That's what being a sports fan is. We all want to win the championship, and only one team can.
Yep.
But
we're all chasing that chip.
But we just gotta take some deep breaths.
Yep.
You want to take some deep breaths with me, Jacob?
Yes. You ready?
Ready. Feel better?
Feel much better.
Hope everyone joined us for that.
I would hope so. Hey, speaking of deep breaths, something that the Royals batters need to think about doing at the plate with runners in scoring position is take a deep breath, because I understand Vinny Pasquantino was a key cog in that success with runners in scoring position. However, the Royals have just been absolutely abysmal in that situation during this slide. They're .162. They're 6 for 37 with runners in scoring position,
which not enough runners in scoring position either.
Exactly. It just goes to, because 37 doesn't sound like a whole lot of opportunities. Well, it's not, because the Royals aren't
over 7 games.
No, but this is just such a stark contrast, because like their 289 average in that same situation, even now, leads the majors, right? By a I wouldn't say a healthy margin anymore. They're batting 151, 14 for 93 in their last 13 games. So that dates back to the start of the series against the Philadelphia Phillies.
There you go.
So my Philly fan of the house, Honey, chirping in the background.
I mean, it's cute and all when the Phillies didn't start the Royals onto the worst slide of their season.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. We handled business, right? Took care of things. But yeah, just more food for thought, because I don't know.
I think you might need to consider a divorce, though.
Yeah, you think so?
I mean, there's some things that are just more important than your life. Apparently,
we have weathered a Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl. I think we'll be okay. Mainly weathered it with
this is baseball.
True.
Don't get me started. You promised we would be a Phillies household.
I did.
Oh, Jacob.
Yeah.
Jacob.
Then you started.
You're the traitor.
In my defense, I've made that promise during the 2017 and 2018 Royals.
When we were getting married.
I know, and the Royals winning changes everything, honey.
Oh gosh, I can't believe this.
And you didn't ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, I should probably ask for permission or forgiveness one of these days, shouldn't I?
So what I'm hearing is Honey should divorce you.
Blue Jays.
Whoop-de-doo.
What about the Blue Jays?
Yeah, they just beat the Blue Jays.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah. What were you saying, Jeremy?
I was saying that it sounds like Honey should.
Yeah, there's probably a little bit more credence there. There's probably a little bit more meat on that bone. than me moving on. But I wouldn't wish for that, and I would hope she doesn't wish for that. But yeah, we'll talk about it later. We'll see what happens. All right, Jeremy. She says she's too busy for divorce proceedings.
I mean, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. Who's got time for that?
She said the exact same thing. All right, Jeremy, listen, I don't have a whole lot more to talk about relating to the Royals. What do you say we just get on out of here with some reviews, huh?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Have I already reviewed Newsroom?
I don't remember reviewing it.
Think so. I did a little bit of a premature review for it for my column on Arrowhead Addict. So if you follow Fansided, please go check that out. But all in all, Newsroom is a drama, I think is the best way to put it, on HBO. Talking about
who needs TV dramas when you've got your household?
Listen, there's reality. There's so many different types of drama in the entertainment sphere. People can't get enough of it in real life. What do you need to know? It's written by Aaron Sorkin, who also wrote West Wing, which was a classic. Stars Jeff Daniels in the main role as well. McAvoy. He is a news anchor. He's kind of shifting away from chasing ratings and actually just like doing the news. Kind of that what is it? That whimsical fairy tale that we all thought journalism once was, believed it once was. That's what he's trying to do. This is all set during the Obama presidency, so take that into account when you're watching it. It is 2012 to 2014. So like that's the period they cover. It's good. I would say it got 3 seasons. It really got 3.5 seasons. Like it had a 2.5 seasons. It had like a funky 6 episode last season.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, I know. Adi and I were talking about it last night. It just screams that they got like canceled very like after the season started. So you just kind of try to wrap everything up as quick as you can. And that's my only gripe. Seasons 1 and 2 were great. They had great stories, good arches, and really good character development. However, that last season really ruined a lot of that pacing for me. And yes, I said arches and not arcs.
I was going to let it go just this one.
Nope. It is arcs. Your story, your characters have arcs, not arches, right?
They might have arches too, but
true. Not everyone is flat-footed out there, but it's a good show overall. It feels very relatable. It talks about a lot of stuff that happened during that time. Like it's not just making up stories.
They didn't do any untrue news.
They did not do any untrue news stories. Nothing's fictional. It's all that's a good lens to watch it through.
Interesting.
If you're looking for more political related drama in your life leading up to the election, go watch The Newsroom on HBO Max. Jeremy, on to you.
All right, Jacob, I'm going to give you a choice.
Okay.
You want me to review the TV show I just started? Or you want me to review the video game I'm about to finish?
Video game.
All right, so I have been playing Trails of Cold Steel 4 for a hot minute now. It is obviously the 4th in the Trails of Cold Steel series. It is the 9th in the Trails series overall. I love the Trails series. Trails in the Sky, 1st and 2nd chapter, are basically a perfect RPG when you put them together. Just absolutely fantastic. And the rest of the series pretty much holds up to that. Pretty close. Though I did have a little bit of difficulty in Trails of Cold Steel 3. It did begin to feel a little formulaic of the Trails of Cold Steel series. It was just like, okay, doing this again and again and again. But they really broke out of that in a big way in Trails of Cold Steel 4, kind of wrapping up a lot of stuff that came not only in the first 3 games of Trails of Cold Steel, but also the Crossbell duology and also the Trails in the Sky trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Those characters, a lot of the protagonists and also villains show up, and it's like one of the reasons the MCU hooked me so hard is that mashups and team-ups have always been among my favorite kinds of story arcs to do.
Okay.
And it was the first time they brought a comic book thing, match up, team up to like that to the big screen. Okay. Now we could talk about the MCU all day, so we're not going to. But this is another example of, hey, here's your heroes from Trails in the Sky. Here's your heroes from the Trails in Azure, and now here's your heroes from Cold Steel, and they're all working together, same goal, all at the same time, and it's just like, oh, hero team up time. And I'm having a blast.
Hell yeah!
So like I said, I'm almost done with it. I'm in, I think, the final dungeon now. We'll probably go try and finish it after we're done podcasting before the game starts. And excuse me, I don't know what I'm going to play next, but I know I do have a few more Trails games after this, at least. Though they did announce that the Trails series might be ending sometime soon.
Okay.
Because the people who've been working on it have been working on it for over 20 years now, and they would like to make some other games, I guess.
Yeah.
Crazy. There you go.
All good things must come to an end, even video game franchises. All right, yeah, we are. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll forget off the podcast. So I'll go find something, I'm sure. If you're still listening, thank you so much for still being here with us. Follow along with us on social media, but we always got to thank the folks over at Royals Review for great work over there. Congrats to Brian Henry for getting an article up on SB Nation's front page, if I think is the way to put it. So congrats there.
Good job, Brian.
It is so much more fun to be doing this for a team when the team is winning. But
yes,
it seems,
which is why I was like, oh, we have to podcast tonight. Oof.
Yeah. Really, that's really what we were thinking. But we're still gonna be here. No matter what. That's just
Jacob
who we are.
Anyways, I might give up at some point. You never know. I might just dive in front of the bus, like in the cover image. So like, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. Jacob, take me out.
If that's your wish, I'll do it, Jeremy. Don't you worry.
I'm glad to know that you'll respect my wishes and murder me.
Yes, it's your wishes. What am I to do? All right. Before we get on to some really deep conversations about the ethics and morals behind that, let's go ahead and get on out of here. You can make sure you subscribe or follow to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. Also, follow along with us on social media at Royals Rundown Pod. Our individual social media links are also in the podcast description. I am Jacob Milham. He is Jeremy Greco. Thank you for joining us today. And until next time, go Royals!